Hi everyone. So today let us take one of the behavioral kind of a question and let's see. So the prompt is how do you handle a missed deadline or a scope creep? Okay. So it happens many a times. Missed deadline. Scope. So first handling the missed deadline. Now whenever there is a deadline for a particular milestone in a project that we are working on. So first, let us discuss what could be some of the reasons why that deadline is missed, and then how do we handle that. So the reasons could be so most of the time the only the whatever reasons I am writing, it could be categorized into two buckets. Whether you have a resource, not adequate resource, or not a resource for that particular problem that you are working on, or you have a limited resource and excess workload that you have taken on for a particular sprint or a particular milestone. And second is if that is not the case, then the second bucket, then you have not prioritized well enough. That maybe you have taken a different task that should be in the later phase of the project. So either of those two things are there. And other things reasons could be that you have ambiguity, not much clarity regarding what was there. So the team members no clarity or defined accountability. So now let us come to the what happens once you have missed those deadlines. So first is that identifying the accountability, and then managing that part of development in the project plan. So first of all, the reason being is that you identify the accountability. Who was the person or the who exactly uh, is the team that is accountable for that particular delay? Because it is very important to have that kind of accountability. Because in the later phase, if you do not manage this deadline, you are going to repeat the same mistake in the next milestone or in the coming phases. So identifying that is a very crucial. And second, how do you manage that into the next part of development or a next sprint? You have to adjust that or define that, maybe filter out something or adjust that. So that is going to there of managing that solution part. Now scope creep is the similar kind of a situation. The reason being that again, excessive changes are introduced or stories are not clear to the developers, so anything that can happen. So reasons for that is that you have a I'm just assuming that most of the time that a scope creep happens when you have too much on the plate. So how do you handle that change process that you include those changes requested by the client or the user in the change manage process? Okay, let me write it down in a different way. a defined process to handle event before. So you need to have a defined way to handle these events, a scope creep or any resource unavailability or any such events, because that's going to create a very large impact on the project. And again, that how do you manage this? Next comes the management of this uh, well-defined plan that is generated or prepared beforehand in consultation with the relevant stakeholders. So I think that is how one can manage these situations whenever it arises in any of the project. Having a clear framework to manage this such kind of situation, discussing that with the relevant stakeholders, because working on and getting them at a random, working on these events at random will only create unnecessary uh, time and resource wastage, nothing else. So you should have a framework, you should have a defined timeline and process of working on those if similar events occur in your project. Okay, that's all. I think in the next video I will be attending different questions. And currently I am reading a research paper. It is regarding evaluations of large language models, statistical approach by someone uh, who works at Anthropic team. So he has written that research paper. He's a very famous, I think, in the data engineering known name. So I'm reading. Maybe I prepare something or get my summary or something, then I will be creating a video of it. Okay, that's all. Thank you.